Well, the Tufts University Marathon team also considers the race a family event, with Coach Don Megerle as the patriarch. For the past 10 years, he's helped hundreds of students train for the 26.2-mile trek. And as WGBH's Elizabeth Ross shows us this year, Coach Don's guidance was more crucial than ever.
Around campus, he's known simply as Coach Don. As director of the Tufts Marathon team, Don Megerle has helped countless students and alumni run the Boston Marathon. This year will be his 10th, and he's as pumped as ever.
When I see my first yellow singlet, it's hard to describe. I just become this overly excited, enthusiastic person.
Tufts is fielding a team of over 150 runners, including 56 who didn't finish last year's race because of the bombings. Coach Don is helping them deal with some powerful emotions.
Let the marathon be a new experience for you, as opposed to thinking back to last year and drawing some conclusion or having some antagonistic emotion tug away at your heart, because it can real quick, as I found out.
Because of new security, he won't be allowed to greet his beloved runners at the finish line.
When I learned via an email that we were denied access to the finish line, personally I was upset. And I know it affected me for a couple days. And I didn't want to talk to anyone about it, because then I would say something I would either regret or wasn't fair to say.
But Coach Don says he's accepted the decision and is focused on doing everything he can for his runners, including Tufts graduate Mackenzie Loy and her father Stephen, who were stopped before the finish line last year.
I don't think I fully understood what happened. I don't think anybody fully understood what happened until later.
Now Mackenzie and her father are running with just one goal in mind. Coach Don recently took Mackenzie and the team on one last group run before the marathon, back through the same spot where she was stopped last year, mile 25.
To see that, and the fact that I got to keep running, and then I turned right and then turned left onto Boylston, and in my mind that was my finishing kick.
Joe Lassard and his brother Stephen are also returning this year. Joe finished last year, Stephen didn't.
We're both sort of really excited about the prospect of what the 21st is going to hold. It's certainly going to be 4 hours of pain for sure, but I think once you sort of get into it, you're going to realize it's going to be different than every year before.
And when Joe, Mackenzie and the rest of the team do cross the finish line, there's no doubt who they'll have to thank.
You can't help but be inspired by what he does. You want to get out there and do your best for him.
For WGBH News, I'm Elizabeth Ross.
And I am joined now by Coach Don. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
An inspiration. So one of the other traditions you have is at mile 9, you greet your runners and hand them peanut butter sandwiches. Well, can you do that this year?
We may not, because last year I made about 200 peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and we were only able to hand out a couple because I moved the table off the course. I didn't want to put it right on adjacent to the course, because then all our runners would back up. So at the dinner on Sunday night, I'll have a raise of hands. How many exactly in the audience tonight that will be running on Monday need one and want one? I'll have one prepared.
You might have a few other people grabbing a few along the way while you're at it. So is it that disappointing to you that you can't greet the runners at the finish line?
Well, for the last 9 years, quite frankly, that's been a moment in my life and their life when they cross the finish line that everything changes. The transition from running 26.2 miles and then crossing the finish line, they go to a different place. I do. I've seen pictures, and the pictures tell the story that's better than anyone can explain. Their emotions, they're jubilant. Some go to emotional highs that they've never been to before. And I love what they have to say the first few words, because they talk about things that they didn't think they could do it. They would be laughing as I'm cuddling in my arms, and they say, everything you told me was right. Everything you told me came true. I did it. I ran faster than I even planned to run. And they thank me for that. And it's my way of thanking them to be there at the finish. So not being there, I've taken that as a good thing, as a positive thing, to abide by the rules and regulations and plan everything around it, but just not be at the finish and be at the family's area.
When will you be able to see them? Because, I mean, they're going to have to be greeted by official people and taken to the medical tents or given the little tinfoil jackets. But
changed the course of what happens right after the finish. They'll give the medals to the runners right away, give them a protective garment, give them some water, and then they'll let them go on their own to either pick up baggage down at the Common or go over to the right near Clarendon or Berkeley Street for the family greeting area, and that's where I'll be. And I'll be looking for these kids for the next several hours after the first.
Have you ever run this yourself, Don?
No, I haven't. I tell the kids.
That's the kind of coach I want.
I tell the kids I own a car. I said,
oh, that's exactly right.
No, I don't plan on it either. I tried a couple when I was in grad school, but I trained improperly, and I only got to about mile 19.
Well, what's your secret then? Why are you such an inspiration when this is something that you've never accomplished?
I think the kids let me inspire them. They really do. If you could see the interactions on a daily basis, and I'm with them literally on a daily basis through training, through emails, through physical therapy, spending time with them, taking them for rides, talking about their fears and apprehensions that they might have, and putting that all aside, and when it comes time for race day, they're fine. And in the last week or so, I met with probably 25 or 30 individual runners that has some doubts about getting ready to run the marathon starting in Hopkinton. But I feel good about it right now.
Last year, you were at the finish line. When did you realize what had happened?
I don't think anyone realized anything until the second one went off. When I saw the first one go off, the billowing of smoke that engulfed the tent where I thought Dave McGilvery was, and Dave is a wonderful close friend.
From the BAA.
Right, and I thought, my God, Dave's gone. Luckily, he had already left to go out to Hopkinton to run the marathon himself. And then when the second one went off, I kept looking up at the buildings thinking the third or fourth or fifth. And right before that, the bomb went off. I saw Tom Groke. He introduced himself, said hello. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later, I saw Tom, and the poor guy was just beside himself. I've never seen a man more distraught and so sad. It was a tough day.
I think it's going to be fine this year.
It will be.
I really do.
I agree.
All right, Coach Don Megerle, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Emily.
Appreciate it. All right, that is our show. Tomorrow night, we'll be joined by the man who came to represent resilience in the wake of tragedy. Jeff Bowman lost both his legs in the first explosion. He later helped authorities identify one of the bombing suspects, and now he's engaged to be married and expecting his first child. That and more tomorrow. I'm Emily Rooney. Thanks for joining us.